know, usually the creatives, they move to Hollywood, they move to New York, and you're in Austin, right? Tell us why you moved there.
So I used to live in New York, and it was in 2009. I visited, 2008. I visited Austin for South by Southwest, but I came in to party. And Austin had this very indie, very musical, very Tamil vibe, in lack of better terms. And it felt very strangely home. And then in 2011, after graduating, working in New York for a bit, I was like, you know what? It's time for change. The rent was going higher in New York too. I used to live in Park Slope, so it's not fun too when you're this young little graduate. So I started mapping out spaces as to where do I want to go. New York and LA seemed very similar, and something I was brought up knowing as a kid was always be the big fish in the small pond than small fish in a big pond. And Austin seemed reasonable, though it's Texas. I flew my dog, packed my bags, drove down. And 12 years later, Austin is thriving. It's growing. We have an incredible incentive that just got passed for creatives. Studios are moving in here. So it's no longer Tamil, since there's also a lot of tech involved, but it feels very Austin's home. It's hot right now, but it's still home. So hot.
It is hard, but I love that Austin is growing in so many different domains, right? Like you said, tech, they can, for creatives, and there's so much happening. Then for you, from, going to party at Austin, they can hosting the first South Asian house. Tell us about that journey.
It's a full circle because so I'm here in 2008, I'm not really worried about the Nepali in me or the South Asian in me or being an ambassador, when young girls and boys and, children nowadays that are particularly being ambassadors of their culture, it's really aspiring because I was not that kid. And I'm here and, I'm looking around, and then every year I've been to South by. So after 2008, I think 9, I skipped, but then 10, 11, every year. And South by is a little different of a beast compared to any other festivals. There's houses. So houses are pop-up events that showcase a country's culture or a community's culture and a new tag. And it's this incredible, space to just interact. And there are these pop-up events that happen throughout. But in 36 years of South by Southwest history, there was never a South Asian house. So I started questioning, and every year, so this question started coming in around 2017 as to why isn't there one? So I approached a couple of people, didn't work out. They're like, why don't you start one? It'll happen, we'll follow. And then in 2019, South by, I met with a bunch of folks who were traveling. They're producers, they're together and they're from different parts of the world. And I was like, I don't understand why there's not a South Asian house. And they're like, Kirtana, you're the best person to start this. Why wouldn't you? You start, we'll rally behind you. And I'm like, okay, that works. And then come fast forward 2021, 22, I'm in Dallas Fort Worth Film Festival. I know Jitin Hingorani. I bring it up. I was like, hey, you do all these events everywhere. And everyone kind of, you're this person who knows the Indian community very well. Because I knew that as a Nepali, unfortunately, funds are not something that come at you, even no matter how much you try. And this is a massive funding space. And so I talked to him and he goes, yeah, I'm on board. Let's do this. And then he's at Tribeca, meets with Ruhi and Monica, who are my other co-founders, who actually had been at South by that same year on a panel, and they'd been talking. So then he gives me a call from Tribeca saying, hey, I met these girls. They kind of want to be on board too. So it was like the universe was kind of conspiring about a South Asian house, just that it was trying to figure out which 4 puzzle pieces would be brought together. And then rest is history. We had our first South Asian house. I'm already gearing up for the second one. Got some incredible talent and partners. planned out already. So I'm thrilled. I'm really, really stoked. A lot of work, so lots of volunteering. And last year, we didn't have a lot of Nepali representation.
Right.
It wasn't as equal, but this time I really want to bring in. I can't be the only one representing. I kind of want to sit in the back seat and sip on tequila instead. But
Seriously, that. But tell us more. How do we get more Nepali representation South by Southwest now?
I think volunteering is a great space, especially for young ones, right? And if you want to be in a creative space, or not even creative, if you want to open your network, I think, what you guys are doing is so important because it's expanding your network. If you're not, for creative specifically, well, I guess at this point, even tech, if you're not working on on your project, then it is important to go and find networks to go and talk to, collaborate with, and just kind of educate yourself. South by Southwest is incredible. South Asian House is free, so anyone can come in. We just require RSVPs. That's about it. But we had 7,000 people come in and out. And even then, what I was noticing is that we were missing a lot of the younger generation, because we and I guess this is just, being a little older speaking, because as someone who is young, I thought the world is going to be my oyster and I can do whatever I want with it. But I had to work a little harder when I was older to expand on my network. But then there were other folks that were similar to me who actually ended up similar of age, who would network a lot. So they were able to kind of create those pathways because that's the way they were brought up. I think that is going to be very important for parents to encourage their children to if you want to go in the STEM route, fine. If you're going to push your kids to go in the STEM route, but don't crush their dreams. So let them go volunteer, let them go communicate, connect,
explore. Right?
Yeah, let them explore. That's what my parents did. I guess that's why I was able to follow my dreams. So I think that is one. Partnerships, sponsorships.
Exactly.
If you really want to speak at a panel, being that person saying, hey, I think what I have to say is important. So really going and selling yourself too, because I think as Nepalis, we're very, very bad at doing that. That's not ingrained in us. It's really not taught. But I think, and then of course, bringing in our culture, like we want to bring a Laki dancer. We want to bring in more things that are more Nepali itself. And I just don't want it to be about the mountains. I love the mountains, but that's not just
there's right.
Yeah.
Right. Especially in 2023, I think we have more to offer, and I think it's really exciting. What I hope, for our community is people see opportunities like this, right? They don't have to go create opportunities from scratch, but we're all trying to do little bits of pieces here and there, and all they have to do is be a part of it, right? And I hope the community actually joins, not just one or two people that are in massive numbers. I hope they join. So
yeah, it's really, that I really hope so too, because I'm not gonna lie, it becomes really. I wouldn't say it becomes really lonely, because sometimes it's also very empowering to be this loud. And I have a very theatrical, because that was my, I was trained in theater since I was a kid, so I have a very loud theater voice. But it's kind of sad when everyone's talking about, this part of India and that part of India, or this part of Pakistan, or this part of Bangladesh, and they're really coming together, and there's this whole communication. And here I am, this Kathmandu Basi, who's just talking about Kathmandu alone, or just being the Nepali person and just talking about Nepal. But then again, it's like, where are my people? Why aren't they showing up? I think that's the important part, is why aren't you showing up when there's an event that is putting you on the global scale? Yeah,
exactly. No, I so agree. And I think now we're seeing that my hope again is people start supporting, not just publicly like you have to show by action, right? By sponsoring and showing up and all of it. So we're hoping this thing make things happen fast.
तर त्यो मेरोमा पनि कमी छ. I'm not gonna lie that I haven't really gone out of my way to really infiltrate the community and say, I need your help, please help me. Because in the past, it's been different. And like, God, you get these different excuses that, no, doable. God, we can't compare ourselves to that. We can't compare ourselves to that. But
Right.
sponsorship goes a long way. You'd be surprised that, you don't really need thousands and thousands of dollars. Just you showing up for a couple of events, that's a sponsorship alone because you're helping me pay my bar tab.
Right.
So those are important things for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, I think we'll our community will get to see more updates on this. But I hope we can get more sponsors, we can get people to volunteer, and we can get people to be involved. Definitely think, and
I need the help to be influenced by Nepal too. Like I need ideas, right? Because there's one head. I can't have all the ideas in one head.
Actually, no. I think that it's going to be, अहिलेको सबैभन्दा exciting thing that I see from the community is that, right, it's not the community we experienced 10 years ago or 15 years ago. It's where there's a lot of young people, there's a lot of ideas, and people are, want to do something, right? So I'm hoping everything, all that works out, and we can do something incredible together.
Yeah, I agree.